Hello and welcome to Patched. I'm your host, Paul James. Today I'm joined by Matto Phillips on PAX Eve. How are you, mate?
PAX Eve? Is it PAX Eve?
It's the week of
Or the
PAX.
Tuesday?
It's the week of PAX.
Penultimate and ultimate
Yeah.
before PAX.
Before
It's
the
exciting
ultimate time.
times.
It's
It
good
is.
times.
Exciting times. First time in, well, we'll debate this. It's either 2 or 3, depending on how you want to look at it.
We've missed 2 of them,
Missed 2 of them.
but it's been 3 years.
But we sort of count 2020 and 2021 as
1 year.
as 1 year. Because no one knows what time, what date it was during that time.
The whole pandemic was 1 year. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be pretty exciting. I'm pretty keen to. Well, I mean, shit, I can't even think of outside of, as we discussed in a recent episode. Apparently, you walked straight past me in at the shops while you were picking up a PS5 and I had my kids. I don't feel like I've even seen you properly in ages. So, like, I mean, there'll be an opportunity for that.
But that's the thing I was thinking of too. I reckon the last time we saw each other in person, I honestly think it was PAX 2019.
Holy shit, really? We're like 10 minutes.
I really do think so.
That's a worry.
Because there has been times where I've dropped something off at your house.
Oh yeah, but
we never actually saw each other at that time because the old 1.5 meter rule. And
all that, yeah.
I also technically wasn't supposed to be there, but let's not worry about that.
Yeah, we've got to.
Technically. But at the same time,
you've got to be this far away from me and my family at all times.
But it's also, I don't know as well if that was during the time that the old suburban people had hard time, while the rural people just had fun times and just driving around wherever the hell they felt like.
I mean, it's far enough gone at this point that I'll admit that, like, even as a regional, rural, whatever, you know, like I was cruising into Sunbury all the time to pick up my game pre-orders. Like, sorry, Dan.
We'll just find out if Paul's not at PAX on Friday. We know he's in a cell somewhere.
I've been arrested by the COVID
I've been
police.
arrested.
You know, they're dropping the rules completely in this joint the week after PAX, but they'll come and get me in the meantime because 2 years ago I snuck off to go pick up my copy of Final Fantasy VII Remake.
And was it worth it? Sure was.
Absolutely. And The Last of Us Part 2. Absolutely. But anyway, speaking of video games and PAX.
What? Video games?
Video games.
We're talking about video games.
That's our deal here.
Really? Wow.
And every now and then I attract attention because I hang shit on a whole bunch of other fellow local games media / influencers and
influencers. Tencent.
Yeah, we got the list that we tick off, but I don't think Tencent too concerned about little old me
until
they buy me out.
We better start writing a list of people Paul's pissed off. I mean, it could be a long list.
Sometime soon, I'll just start like praising Tencent in an episode, and that's the time that people start thinking I've been bought off by them.
Patch is being bought by Tencent for 10 cents.
Yeah.
For all we know. But there we go.
I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, speaking of video games and PAX, the people who run PAX, ReedPop, are now running E3, which is coming back in 2023. Apparently, we've learnt this week. At a top level, what do you make of that?
Great. I missed E3. To be honest, I really did miss E3. I know other people say, "Oh, PAX is not PAX, E3." We're getting mixed up here. E3, everyone's like, "Oh, it's going out of, but not out of date. It's getting stale." I should say, it's the word stale.
Yeah.
Or I don't even boring. I don't know. Boring's a really word. I think it was just more how it was organised that was the problem.
Yeah.
Not so much. Oh, I have to get up at 3:00. Well, that's what happens when you live in Australia.
Well, yeah.
Too bad.
We had our complaints with time zones and those sort of things. PR kind of. The developers and all those sorts seem to have their issues because in this day and age, everyone's got their own streams and those sort of things. Whether it's your PlayStation State of Play or your Nintendo Direct or your Ubisoft Forward or whatever else, Xbox just streaming things. So it kind of E3 was becoming less necessary, it seemed, because that was always kind of the one tentpole for the year, and then that was kind of it. But I think over the last 2 years, developers and publishers have kind of realized, yeah, this is not actually so good because people are getting frustrated with the fact that they want to tune in for this stream. Like, we'll have 5 or 6 streams instead of E3. over the course of the year or whatever the case happens to be, and so people get frustrated with the fact that they want to tune in here and we'll tune in here for 30 minutes and we'll tune in there for an hour, and it became too much for people. So I think there's been a bit of a push to kind of go back to that more central. This is the one big week of video games for the year, and you better buckle in and enjoy it. Sure, it might be a few sleepless nights, but then we move on and we rest up and we start enjoying the video games again. So, and actually, like as a consumer of it, and I don't know if you're the same. Again, possibly the time zones and the sleep thing might be a variable in it, but I'm all for it as well. If it means that we get less of those streams like all year round.
Yes, because to be honest, yeah, you get those state of play things, whatever, but they always show the same game. Like, I don't care. I know it's coming out. It's like, for instance, God of War. We know it's coming out in November, but you don't need to keep showing it. I know you probably have to keep showing it just to keep those dickheads happy.
Well, because and trailers still keep popping up anyway. It's just this big event.
Yeah, just so they don't forget those 2 people that work there out of the many people that work at Santa Monica Studios. But if you had a big reveal at E3, that's all you had to show, and just wait till November.
Yeah,
that's all.
Yeah, I would largely agree with all that. I think it's better when there's like a single focal point for the most part. You can have small things around it if you want, but like there needs to be the one big attraction. But if we use PlayStation as the example, like they try and have 4 or 5 main attractions over the course of the year, and it just it gets a lot.
But then also, if it's at E3, you can get the big door to come up, and what's his name, Christopher Judge, just comes out and just says, "Boy," and then just walks off. That's his cue. That's him done, and everyone will go mad. The whole crowd will go crazy. Like, "Oh my god, he said boy! He said boy!" I was there when he said boy.
Oh, it'd be great. So the run, like the dates of everything, I guess, just for context for people. Part and digital events will precede the physical expo beginning on June 11th, but the legendary event will run from, and this is courtesy of IGN, will run from Tuesday, June 13 to Friday, June 16. The thing that's kind of, I guess, important to note from the ESA, which is the American body that kind of oversees E3, but is also kind of the ratings board and all those sorts of things. They've said, our vision is to reunite the industry by re-establishing the traditional E3 week, bring back that spark, and restore E3's role as a truly magical global showcase event for game creators and consumers. There was another comment somewhere, but I've lost it. But essentially what they're looking to kind of, they're expressing their interest in, even for those who aren't directly attending these days, so like what Microsoft has been doing, where they've kind of had things at the Microsoft Theatre, or EA who'd had their EA plays and those sort of things, again, not at E3 properly itself, is like, okay, you may not be with us, but like let's all still come together and kind of have this. Like E3 wants to be the overarching, rather than what Jeff Keighley's tried to do with Summer Game Fest and be this overarching thing. They kind of want to steal that title back. I guess it's like we are this period of time, and then you can have whatever underneath. So and they want to kind of support everyone to do that. And look, I don't think it's a bad idea in terms of like spreading the word. Like I think over years and years and years and years, E3 has been the name for that time of year, and all the video game showcases, and I think that still probably has more sticking value than Summer Games Fest, which isn't even applicable for us down here in terms of the name.
Yeah, it's what, in winter?
Winter Games Fest.
And yeah, it's just weird why you call it a Summer Games Fest when it's worldwide. That's
June Games Fest.
It's just hard to June. Yeah, June's Game Fest, or I don't know.
The 2023 Games Fest.
Done. See, we fixed it for you, Jeff, or no longer to be Jeff's festival.
Yeah.
Too bad.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what he does now. Like, does he
Jeff Keighley show?
I guess I'll come back under E3 and host some stuff.
Or maybe you'll just do like a Mike Myers thing and just come out as different people and just host it.
Yeah.
Just Jeff Keighley as himself and many others.
And then of course someone will pull the Scooby-Doo style. Hang on
a second.
That's not
Jim Ryan.
Yoshida at all. That's Jeff Keighley. I would have done it if it weren't for you. Yeah, anyway, pesky kids or whatever they say in Scooby-Doo. Classic. Good one, Paul. But yeah, I think like Jeff, there's a home for Jeff. I think it just probably needs to be under that umbrella, and he can still kind of land isolated things like he's done in the past. I remember 2020 where he was like, okay, this is where you're going to see this, and like, I mean, it ended up being Tony Hawk 5, which was shit. But like, he was the home for Tony Hawk. In fact, he was a real home for all things Activision during that. He had that. He had Crash Racing, if I remember. There was a whole bunch of different things that he was kind of the basis for on the Activision side, but others as well. Like, he can kind of get those isolated ones. People who don't want to do big presentations, but Jeff's June Game Fest under the E3 umbrella can be where you get everything else.
We can still do Activision. Jim Ryan can come on stage and have a cry and say, "Don't take my Call of Duty. Don't."
Oh, that's what, our third or fourth week in a row of just dunking on him in that way.
It's good. Yeah, because let's be honest. I know this is not E3, but Activision. There is more games to Activision than just Call of Duty. But unfortunately, all the other games are not on PlayStation or not as popular on PlayStation compared to Call of Duty. And it also shows too that you have absolutely no faith in your PlayStation studios if that's the case.
Apparently Google is now getting involved. Like,
I don't know what just because their state went so well. I mean, it went huge because they discontinued it. I know that
starting January, yeah. But apparently they're getting involved. Like, they're concerned about Microsoft. I'm like, okay, like
Google, go back to your search engine. Just because, go laugh at their Bing, okay?
And your phone, your Pixel.
Because that's a huge...
And your
Pixel. Yeah, you got your Pixel phone. They've got their stupid... Well, there was a Nokia or something at one stage.
Didn't they buy Nokia?
Yeah, and it was rubbish.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want to play.
There. So,
shocking.
I guess the other aspect...
Zune.
The Zune. Oh, the Zune. Good
that was another quality Microsoft product, if no one ever knows. That was the so-called competition to the Apple iPod. It was absolutely no competition whatsoever.
I love when Battletoads took the piss out of it in the remake in 2020, or the reboot.
And also Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 also referenced it, which was quite funny because they probably could because it cost absolutely no money because it no longer existed.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. So you can dodge.
And it just made it even more funnier because it's like the most unpopular thing, and you just laugh and go, "It's a Zune." Surprised they didn't make a comeback after that. I'm shocked. Unlike Metallica and Kate Bush in Stranger Things, where for some reason people realise there's actual music out there.
Yeah, people lost their mind over it. Like, actually decent music.
Real instruments that are not made by
bullshit.
computers. Yes, no. Push a button and voila, music done.
So, I guess the other key aspect is kind of even how it's structured. So there's going to be in the last few years it's gotten a bit messy because, like, before the pandemic and before E3 actually kind of shuttered for those couple of years, they did have it was just a mix of media and public all there together because the ESA felt like they needed to make more money than what they were making, and so that's how the thing kind of devolved to a point where you just had everyone piling in there all at the same time. And I'm sure they made lots of money, but no one really liked it. The media side weren't able to do their work because the public was in the way. The public weren't able to play games because the media appointments, someone might be sitting there playing a game and then they get kicked out all of a sudden because, I don't know, Joe Screbbles from IGN walks over and, sorry Joe if you're not listening.
So you're not on the list, Joe. We just used it as an example. Just relax, buddy.
Yeah, you just happen to be the person who's written the article at IGN that I'm reading for the sake of this. So thanks, Joe.
Good on you, Joe.
But Joe walks along to go play, I don't know, Call of Duty 2024, and you're in the way. No, get out, champ.
Jim Ryan's handed out pamphlets to say no to the Xbox.
I mean, Xbox has set up a station straight outside the Call of Duty booth that's like, drop a tissue in here for PlayStation on the way out.
Or they do it at the end of the start of the line and just give them tissues to give tissues to Jim when you get there.
And Jim's chained down having...
Well, you get two options. You give him a tissue or a dummy. Take your pick.
They work the same.
Or you could also go the full set and just give him some nappies as well. Just
lean right into it. Yeah, go for it.
Lean right into it.
So the event's going to be spread out over like kind of the entire week this time, and there's going to be dedicated media days. I think there's like one day that's kind of somewhere in the middle. It's like you got your 5 days. The first 2 are media. The third day is a mix of media and public, and then the last 1 to 2 days were all for the public, which I think is probably the right split. It allows everyone to do the work they need to do. It means the developers, they're presenting for longer. They're there for an entire week doing it, but it gives the ESA the time to make their money, which makes its way to the developers. It gives the media the opportunity to do what they need to do. It gives the public the opportunity to do what they want to do. No one's disadvantaged. So I feel like they've made the right call there. Would that be fair? Without having actually experienced it, I guess, but feels like it's the right call.
I'd say so. Yeah, because I think half the problem was just the media stuff was just all over the place. It sort of felt like But now it's just all
Yeah.
in the one spot, which is kind of what you really need because what was it? It used to go over like 5 days. It used to be all over the place time wise. It
Oh,
either used to
yeah.
be
It was a mess.
all over the place or for some reason back to back for some unknown reason. Uh, it's like everything. Like, oh, hey, here's the Bethesda thing, and then like we said, then you have to do like a 3 kilometer walk to the other
Oh, yeah,
presentation,
those days weren't good for. I think that was like
or
2007
sit in or
2008.
get in the waiting room, and then you can go in and all that
Well, that
rubbish.
was the PlayStation one. Yeah, that was awful too.
But yeah, so I reckon the whole media thing is just pick your times and go from there.
Yeah, it's probably the right way to do it. And as we touched on at the beginning, ReedPop is the one that's kind of taken over control of the whole thing, which is fairly important as well. And obviously, we touched on PAX before, but PAX, I guess, at its core is yes, there's video games there. Yes, there's board games. Yes, there's all the we get guest speakers, all that sort of stuff. But at its core, it's all about the community and those sorts of things. And you feel like, and maybe that's even representative in the clear, dedicated. Here's the days for the community or the public or whatever. It feels like they're kind of leaning into that strength as well when it comes to E3 and going, no, you need to give the public, the people, the players, the opportunity to sit down, play this, enjoy it. And I hope that goes broader than just that as well. So like, there's more of an indie focus. There's maybe your equivalent of the indie, the indie rising sort of section that you see at PAX, where like here's a whole bunch of guys that would never have gotten a gig here in the past because they don't have tens of thousands of dollars just for a square meter.
Or here's a single dad from Poland. That's still my best, the best line.
You still love him, man.
I do.
It's the opportunities for those little guys or single dads from Poland that maybe they can kind of create those opportunities. Like maybe they even subsidize a lot of the cost for that particular portion because they know that EA is going to, especially if EA does kind of get involved, if Xbox kind of comes back in under the umbrella properly, then they're making a ton of money from all these giant corporates. So how it's not going to cost them that much to go, okay, it costs $5,000 for your little 1x1 booth that you need so that people can come by and check out your game. Great, it's yours. There you go. Maybe you pay us like it costs $5,000. You give us $1,000 and $1,000, and that's it. You got your spot. Enjoy. Hopefully, people love your game. Like I think that would be a really good act for the developers, but also for the players. It gives them more to check out, a more diverse range of titles. I think there's a lot of wins even in that side of things too. If ReedPop does what we know ReedPop typically does.
Also, too, being that we are before E3, I sort of feel like we're the guinea pigs for what could work at E3 as well. Because for us this year, there's no Xbox, there's no PlayStation, there's no real big names there. It's just mainly the indies, pretty much.
It's pretty much
which is good because let's be honest, to me that affects me nothing at all because I never used to line up for 3 hours anyway just to play 20 minutes of a game that would get delayed by 6 months after that. So I'm all fine with that. So it's going to be interesting to see how this year's going to go.
I mean,
just more of a layout per side of things because.
Yeah, I mean, this obviously wades into the PAX side of it, and even a conversation that I had with Drew and Buddy on the House of Mario Encore, like yesterday or the day before. I don't know, it's public now. It came out on Sunday for everyone watching and listening. We were talking about kind of PAX leading up to it, and I guess because I had that early media hour, like I would jump on the AAAs for that kind of exact reason. It would take hours and hours and hours in a queue to play anything AAA really, any like high profile AAA game, you'd be in a queue for quite a long time to finally get a crack at it. So I made sure that I would always tick off those big hitters in that hour that the media have early access, because then afterwards, once the public gets in, it's a madhouse. So again, like maybe this sort of structure though for E3 works because you get all the media people out of the way. They've done their bit. They've had all their appointments, and there's still going to be thousands of gamers piling in to check out. I don't know. 2023's big AAA exclusive, who knows what it happens to be, and obviously there'll be heaps of those sorts of games there. But like,
and all the people trying to find shoe in their PlayStation T-shirts.
Yeah, we'll be doing that.
It's a shoe hunt. That's what I could.
I can just imagine a roaming horde cruising around PAX this coming weekend.
They're just looking at his Twitter like shoe was over here, and they'll just all run over to like some food booth or whatever where he's just having some chips or something, and everyone's there looking for him.
That crowd, like all that screaming crowd that's looking for T-shirts and stuff that get thrown out. It turns out Shoe's just somewhere hiding in that. No one ever suspects him.
It's
No
just
one's
a
ever going to
bunch of
suspect me here. Boom.
it's a bunch of people who's not PlayStation fans. Like, oh, he's over at like the Logitech booth or something. No PlayStation fans going to go to the Logitech booth. It's just ridiculous. Or
Someone finally spots Shu and he's walking out with arms full of swag that he's been given for free.
or he's wearing a hat and some sunglasses, and no one just recognizes him. He just casually walks out with all these
Easily.
free gear that he got from all the booths, that t-shirts, everything.
It's gonna be fun with Shu this weekend. Imagine him at E3 with the thousands crawling all over that public, thousands members of the public.
It's like this. It's like an equivalent of like a Justin Bieber just appearing and everyone's like squealing.
Who would be having? No, I mean the video game equivalent of Justin Bieber in this space, in terms of like popularity, not because he's a teen pop star, is Hideo Kojima, surely.
Okay, so we got to go down one level then, if that's the case.
Yeah, Shu would be at least a level or two below that, I would have thought.
Okay, Ed Sheeran. No,
you've really got to be the hardcore. Like, did you know much about Shu before he was kind of?
No idea. I had no idea who Shu was until people started talking about him. He was trying to find his ramen noodle place. And everyone's suggesting, like, oh, that's a good one. Nah, go to this one. And it's like, for crying out loud, it's just a guy who just wants some food. Just give him it. Just tell him to go here.
It's the downside when you're that popular and you ask for an opinion. You get lots and lots of opinions of people who love you that want to support you.
You might starve to death if you don't give him a... He needs to put a poll out or something.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like he cruising around Melbourne today, took photos at the front of all 4 different ramen restaurants that he'd been suggested, and then chose the one he's going to start with, but clearly he's going to go to all the others while he's here too.
He's just trolling people. So bang. Straight out the gate.
So I'm going to hang around Mr. Ramen Bar for the next few days, and eventually I'm going to catch the guy.
Well, let's see. Let's say there's you, there's Buddy, Betson, Drew, all hang out just hang out of those ramen bars and then just call the others and go, hey, he's here.
Bird calls, caw, and we all come flocking over for Shu. It'll be great. We'll catch him at PAX. Nothing else.
Shoot your flare gun in the air.
Shoot your flags, yeah.
Shoot your flare.
Shoot your. Anyway,
yeah, gotcha.
We'll move on. That's a bad dad joke that's going on there. Do you have any other thoughts on E3 coming back?
Well,
advantages.
No, I don't know about the disadvantages yet. It's sort of, I've kind of forgotten what an E3 event was because it's been so long.
Yeah.
But I'd say the advantage is if it is crowds are back, reactions to games on a big screen. That's the one thing that I've sort of missed, because you get all these big game trailers, you're just like, oh yeah, cool, move on. If it was something like Breath of the Wild, people would probably go crazy for it. Those big Nintendo fans would be going nuts for, well, was it Tears of Kingdom or whatever it's called?
Yeah.
New one? I can't remember what it's called.
Tears of the Kingdom, yeah.
Tears of the Kingdom. Or, see, if Keanu Reeves just came out to a crowd of nothing, we would have never got You're Breathtaking.
Exactly. There's a lot of moments we lose when we don't have a show floor and a stage for E3.
Or the sound of silence when someone reveals Ridge Racer, or Don Matrick making an absolute dickhead of himself.
Mr. Caffeine. Oh, geez, we could start again. We'd have one of those episodes where we talk about like best E3 moments, which I think we've probably done like 4 of over the years. But anyway,
and then go play Xbox 360. Then PlayStation come out with a 5-second video of how to share games with your friends. Here you go. Thanks. Done. That's the video. I thought that was pre-Jim Ryan days, where it used to be fun at PlayStation. Not anymore, because he's worried about Call of Duty. But
yeah,
when I saw that video, I just laughed because I thought it was absolute.
Well, Shu's in that video.
Is he?
Yeah, Shu's the one in that how to share games on PS4.
Was he? Did he give the game to the other person, or did he say thanks?
Yeah, he was the one giving the game to Adam Boyes. Adam Boyes was the one saying thanks.
Oh, well, good on you, Shu. Just showed a clear example of what you can do.
That's the leadership.
The leadership, right there.
And that's why they've got him here for story time at PAX, because he is the leader that this gaming industry needs. And Jim Ryan, get out of that seat. It's Shu's.
Yeah, maybe we should start a petition to Shu as CEO. Shuio.
Give Jim the boot to put Shu in.
Get your shoe in.
He's got a shoe in. He's got a shoe in the door. Anyway, yeah, look, I think there's lots of good that can come out of this. The demo ops, I hope it kind of brings out PlayStation, who actively before, admittedly, the pandemic hadn't kicked in, or like the effects of the pandemic hadn't kicked in, but they had already said that they were going to go to E3 2020 before.
They must have
COVID
known
started.
something.
Yeah. Well, but they just kind of wanted to embrace this kind of digital sort of model thing. Yeah, I saw that too. I don't think it'll be in the video, but there was some fluff thing floating through the sky.
Fluff or ghost? We don't know.
Could be the other. We haven't had the old patched ghost of mine since I moved into this shed. It's good, but yeah, I think like maybe it brings PlayStation back, maybe it brings Xbox back, maybe EA at least does their thing under the umbrella properly. Like I'm hoping that kind of brings everyone back to the table, and if nothing else, because you're gonna give hundreds of thousands of people opportunities to play these demos of some of the biggest games that are coming, and that's a good marketing beat to hit. You can still have your other streams around the year if you want. Like you have, your presentation, E3 presentation, is still a state of play. It doesn't need to be the big. I would like it to be the stage show thing, like what you discussed before, but it doesn't have to be. But then, if you want to try this stuff out, go down to E3 and jump in the convention center queue and go check out, I don't know, The Last of Us Factions multiplayer, whatever. I don't know. The opportunities are there, so I hope that
Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, Spider-Man 2 will be the big one next year. So.
Or Wolverine. Who knows?
Yeah. So the opportunities are there. I hope they take it. Any other thoughts?
Don't think so. I'm just happy to see E3's back. And then I realized 2023, when you said all these games, I thought, oh man, there's plenty of games they can show at E3 next year. There's 400 games coming out next year that you can just use.
It's almost
so many.
Because there's so many games you can demo, maybe games you haven't played before. You're like, oh, this is good. I might get this when it comes out. When's it coming out? A month? It's another game on the queue.
No. Not another one.
I was better not knowing. All right, we'll wrap things up there. If you enjoyed this episode of Patched, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. All the buttons down below. Hit the notification bell. That way you're alerted to every new video the moment it goes live. That includes more Patched, Player 2 Plays, Gamer School, and a whole bunch more. Awesome stuff there. Please subscribe and go and check it out. Visit the website, player2.net.au, for reviews, previews, opinion pieces, news, features, links to the podcast series, Patched, the Player 2 Pixelcast, and Dev Diary. We're on Patreon, patreon.com/player2au. Kick in a few bucks at the lower tiers, early access to episodes, higher tiers, monthly episode exclusives. And finally, there's Twitter. You'll find me at Paul James Games.
Oh, we changed it around this time,
I just switched into patch mode. P2 Players mode by mistake then.
Matto_Phil.
Let's fix it up. Paul James Games for myself. The website is player2au. And if you're around PAX, I don't know, stop us, say hi. And we'll see you hopefully at PAX, but otherwise we'll see you next week.